Y'all, I hit record. Oh my God. Well, we had been podcasting and talking for like 15 minutes, and I thought that I had hit record, but I finally hit record and we are back. What's up? I'm Eric Esteban, and
What's up, Chris Mateo?
we're back with Miscellaneous and Brown. Chris, you're back. How was Hawaii?
It was everything Hawaii needed to be and then some. Um, I got sick like in the beginning. I don't know if you could still hear it, but in the beginning of my trip, it was kind of weird. I felt like a bad head cold, and then eventually got better. And so, but I think it was just Hawaii that cured me, right? To being out at different beaches every day. I was in Waikiki the first half. The second half, we were at Aulani, met up with more family. So it was all very much healing. And the fact that it wasn't 150 degrees like it is right now in Sacramento, that was a nice little break. So very
Yeah, but
glad that I experienced it, but even more glad I'm home.
well, I mean, we missed you last week, but at the same time, you lined up Abby to come. Abby Eusebio, the Midwest director. I'm sorry, the director of the Midwest chapter of FilAms for Harris.
Yes. Oh, you
Not
said
FilAms
Harris.
for Biden anymore.
Good.
We
Good.
that
Wow.
because we were talking in the pre-show. Well, actually, we were podcasting, and I forgot to hit record. But we were talking in the pre-show about how I've been posting those videos, those Miscellaneous and Brown season 1 videos. Those like little 10-minute snippets where I did almost like a Daily Show-esque kind of monologue where I had like snippets from the news and would comment on them and make jokes about them. And I have to say, man, I was rewatching some of those and I was like, wow, this is an outlet that I might need to take advantage of and do again. So I'll watch out for that. We'll be uploading it to the same spot here, the 1-2 Productions uh YouTube channel, and then maybe we'll upload snippets again at on Instagram. But I definitely think I'm gonna start that up again because
Yeah.
why
I think
not?
I know you'll be chatting with Michelle from our comms team. I think that'll be something I'll bring up with her, but you should definitely bring up to say, hey, I know that you guys have a TikTok now. I think it'll be fun to have some type of produced video that's really short form, but definitely something that you could easily produce and be like, hey, how many minutes can I get? What are we going to do? Like maybe blast it like 1, 2, 3 things, and here's Eric's take on it or something. Just an
Well,
idea.
I already have a few ideas for
There,
the TikTok.
there you go.
I
Cool.
wanted to debate with myself as a Filipino uncle that is a Trump supporter, and the debate with myself, but I'm
Yeah, yeah,
the Filipino. I probably shouldn't say that on our podcast because somebody's probably going to take that idea and then put some filter on their face and steal my jokes. But that's
nah,
fine.
it's okay. But
No,
at
I'm
least
just
you know we're yeah, no, we're fine. Yeah, they
no, but
won't be
I will say that I definitely want to do some stuff with FilAms for Harris.
yeah.
We do have Melissa Ramoso, who's the national director of FilAms for Harris, as well as Michelle Armour, who's the East Coast communications director, or what is her title for
She's
FilAms for
she's heading up comms with Marilyn, and so they're the dynamic duo for comms.
for
And so
national comms directors, or
yes, so they're
so there,
doing
so
everything. You see, like
and we have
press.
both of those lovely ladies coming to our podcast, and we will interview them, and they will help tell you and guide you how to become part of Phil Lambs for Harris and be a part of this wonderful movement, so that we can have a real big Zoom like everybody else. No, we had a nice Zoom. Were you at the Zoom for Phil Lambs for
Yes,
Harris? That was nice. There was like 400 or
no,
500 people in there. It was a nice
it was
group of people
okay.
in there.
Yes, and so we had close to 500 folks join, but it was record breaking also because if you guys notice, all the representatives that showed up, we did not have that kind of turnout of elected officials, Filipino
Well,
elected
I don't know
officials.
that there was even were they even in office 4 years ago. You know what I mean?
No, yeah,
This is recent developments that was inspired by all of the stuff that you guys have done and all the hard work you guys have done in community outreach and grassroots, and you inspired people to start running for office. So that y'all didn't even need a comedian or any entertainment people. You had a whole docket of all stars of elected Filipino American officials. It was brilliant. It was really
it was
inspiring, and is also inspiring because one of those elected officials was my boy Stephen Raga. I was doing karaoke comedy online pandemic fundraisers for him, during the pandemic. So, and now to see him in elected office and him still being the only Filipino to ever be elected to office in New York.
Yes.
That to me is still a trip. But we need to remedy that, and we need to duplicate Stephen Raga, and we'll talk to Michelle Armour more about how they're doing that on the East Coast. But yeah, I mean, being here on the West Coast, I'm starting to work in with because Abby said that there's a bunch of people. There's of course Isabel Jurado, who's running for city council. There's Robert Bulatao, who's running for city council up north, and then you have, of course, Jessica Caloza, who's running for state assembly. I mean, we have a strong, and then of course our attorney general, soon to be governor. If I have anything to say about that shit, I'm gonna say right now. I mean, what's great about being on that FilAms for Harris thing? When as soon as Rob Bunta came on, I thought I was gonna be the only one, and I was gonna be like crazy talking about he's our next governor. But there were a few folks who were clipping that homie's gonna be our next governor, and I have to say, to be honest, I've seen him speak before, and I've been a part of Zooms with him before, but I've never really almost heard his stump speech. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never got to, and I felt it that during FilAms for Harris, that what was it, last Tuesday?
Yeah.
Was it last Tuesday? Time goes by so fast and so slow when you smoke a lot of weed like I do.
With or without weed, it's just time's just different. But yeah,
it's a trip. Well, there's so much news coming at us all the time. Like we had to talk about the NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists, and that whole I don't even want to say, because part of me is almost like there were a lot of people who are against Trump even being a part or being invited, because their whole theme of their convention was fighting against misinformation, and then you have like the king of misinformation as your guest. But at the same time, I don't know that I've ever seen anybody interview Trump in that way, asking him actual hard-hitting questions where he has to answer for his actions and his words. I don't know, and then continuous follow-ups and continuous not when I say badgering, but at the same time, Angie Stone is her name from ABC, the lady who really hit him hard. I was happy to see it, to be honest. That was what I really enjoyed. And you saw what happened. He decided to pull the birtherism 2.0 card and say that Kamala Harris just decided that she wanted to turn black. What the fuck are you even talking about, homie?
Not everyone can just spray paint the color that they want on their face and then call them that color.
And not even just, she can be Indian and have a South Asian Indian descent, and also have African descent and Jamaican descent in the case of her, specifically in the case of her father. And then you have like guys like Jesse Waters on Fox talking about, well, she's not technically African American because she's her father's from Jamaica. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to determine the amount of blackness or authenticity, if Jesse Waters is your barometer for authentic black person, I think you might need to check your source, is what I'll say on that stuff. I mean, I have to. I know I specifically wanted to bring this up only because this stuff happens to me. Look at my Miscellaneous Brown. That is, yes, it's a joke, but as with all jokes, there are two sides to the coin. There's a tragedy part to that joke, and the tragedy part to that joke is, my whole career, there have been white people or people in authority trying to tell me who and what I am. And when Trump did it in live time, trying to be, where's your birth certificate? Or go back to where you came from, or all these other things that he says and his mega cult say all the time. I heard that shit growing up. That stuff it's almost like a PTSD type of thing for me when he does that stuff, because my whole, like I said, here's my first comedy special. It's called Miscellaneous Brown because that's what I was. Yeah. I was a miscellaneous brown guy that you just, he looks Indian enough. He'll let him play a Native American. Let him do this. Let him do that. Let him do this. It was benefit for me in as far as that goes, but it was still You were an outsider. And that's all he's trying to do. It's the same thing he did with Obama, where he was like, oh, well, where's his birth certificate? He wasn't born here. It was this, or he's Muslim, or he's this. It's just an othering. Because when your base and all you have to go on is racism.
Yeah.
You know, let's just be real. He's just racist. I'm tired of people sugarcoating it. I'm tired of people saying anything. And to me, if you're going to support Donald Trump, you are supporting racism in its purest form. Period. He's racist. He is a racist. Yeah. And you see what happens when he gets pushed into a corner. He falls back on racism because that's what racists do.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I'm looking so forward to the debate.
You think it's going to happen? You think he's going to show up?
I think one of them he'll have to. I think he'll just be, but it's just going to be, I don't know. He's going to pull something, but I don't think he can avoid just doing one at least. I don't know how he's going to do it, but it's going to be sensationalized either way. But yeah, I would love to. I can't wait to see that happen. I mean,
well, again, I feel like, you know what? Here's what I think, because you know that this has happened before in the Georgia debate with Ossoff, where he challenged his Republican challenger to a debate, and homie said, "No, I'm not debating you." And then Ossoff had, you know, an hour or whatever it was on the local television station to talk, and the press or the moderator just asked him questions, and he basically had the hour and a half. And if Trump doesn't want to do the ABC debate, give Kamala the hour and a half of national television to talk to all of America and tell us what she's going to do. I'm fine with that. If he's too chicken to face her on ABC, and then you know what else you should do? Okay, cool. I'll go to the Fox debate and go into your Lions Den, but this whole live audience garbage, nah, we're not doing the whole Roman Coliseum. You know, fill it up with your cultist people, and then they scream every time she opens her mouth. No, I'm nobody needs to see that. But a debate on the same parameters as the ABC one that you agreed to with the Biden at Fox, I don't see why she shouldn't. I'd say go ahead, because she'd still wipe the floor with him.
Yeah.
It's just true. And then she'd have to wipe the floor with the moderators too, because they'd come at her as well. And that's fine too, because then you show you how adept this wonderful woman is and how good she is on her feet and how well deserved she deserves your vote to be president of the United States. So I'm fine with it if they put her on Fox. Go ahead. Yeah. Because I know that she could survive it. But I mean, we're here. It's Monday, and they've already announced VP picks.
Yes.
And I know it's a little bit early in the podcast to talk about this, but we can have a short podcast today and then another one next week. And then because I know that there's going to be news every day. Yeah. It's going to be news, especially now. You know what? Before we go into the VP picks, let's talk about your plans for the Democratic National Convention, because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think I'm going to make it.
Okay.
I think you're going to go, but you got to get your internet signal and your camera right so that you can be our correspondent from the DNC, only because I got a new job.
Oh.
I got a job bartending at the Burbank Airport, and I'm scared to say it out loud because I haven't got my fingerprints yet. But yeah, I got a job bartending at the Burbank Airport, like either early mornings or late nights, and that will be a nice part-time gig. So I won't be able to go out of town in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
because I'm starting a new job. So I'm pretty sure I probably won't be able to go. But we are going to have to figure out, you know, a correspondence thing, because I know you're going.
Yeah.
Because with FilAms for Harris, you're going. So you will be our correspondent. Are you going to be on the floor?
Yes. I am part of the credentialing committee. So I'll be there for that. And then I was just told by our co-chair for FilAms for Harris, I'll be helping out with helping credential folks from all over the place. We're expecting a ton of people. I think right now we're at about 50 Filipino delegates that will be coming from all over the country, and we'll be housing them for the first time ever. Just so I share some news, this will be the first time that FilAms for Harris or any FilAms campaign will be partnering with the DNC, and we're going to have our very own. Excuse me. We'll be having our own hospitality suite at the Marriott, specifically hosted by FilAms for Harris, and so folks can come in, meet with us. We might have snacks. I don't know if they're going to make me cook lumpia, but I'll do it if they need to. But we're going to have it's going to be pretty sweet. And so to have that space, we're going to have debriefings. We're going to talk about Filipino voter outreach, API voter outreach, those types of things. And our leadership will be there throughout the week. So it's going to be pretty epic.
So you're going to have to, we'll probably just end up going live on Instagram then for some of the stuff where I'll tag you on Instagram, or you tag me on Instagram, be like, yo, I'm with Rob Bunta. He wants to talk to you. And we'll go on Instagram live and we'll talk, and we'll just post it on the Instagram. But also I think we should definitely, like, when you're in the hotel or whatever, we'll figure out and schedule a time so you can give us updates from the DNC. That'd be great.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Because I feel like as much as I want to go, I mean, it's my hometown, Chicago, and it's probably going to be another time where I'm missing my hometown.
Yeah.
But again, I think starting a new job, I don't know that it would be a good idea.
Yeah. Don't mess that up. Don't mess that up.
I mean, and again, hey, who knows? I'm getting my fingerprints tomorrow. Maybe I might not have the job. So you never know. So maybe I'll be unemployed. And then I'll be like, hey, Melissa, let me fly me to there and let me take advantage of the concierge suite in the Marriott. So, but part of me also wants to do it like this, because I feel like you would, whenever you have a chance to get back to us and give us an update of what's going on. I mean, I maybe even will do some live where I'll set up my iPhone and go live and watch the coverage of the DNC, and we'll watch it all together on, like we'll do stuff like that. But yeah, I'm thinking about trying to just upgrading everything, because having those joke videos, doing some videos like I did in 2020, and doing some videos where I use news clips like I did back, because there's a lot of people doing those style of videos now, and mine are still funnier 4 years ago than theirs are currently. So, there's a space for this, and I feel like, I know that I can do it, and I know I'm pretty good at it. So between us podcasting all the time, live updates from the DNC, those videos, it's going to bring more traffic to this podcast and more traffic to this channel. But also, I think it's going to help us, get everything else, the things that we want for this podcast and the things that we want for the message that we're trying to get across during this podcast. So totally. It's all going to help itself. But yeah, man, so if you are interested, where would someone go if they were seeing this and they were like, I want to go to the Democratic National Convention, I want to be a part of that I want to be a part of FilAms for Harris? Where would they go, Chris? Give them the plugs right now before we continue the conversation. We do like almost like a commercial break for FilAms for Harris. Where would you go? What would you do to get involved if you wanted to get involved?
It's all social media. If you guys just jump on to @FilAms for Harris, all one word, FilAms ForHarris. That's our handle for Instagram, where you'll see most, if not everything, that we need to post. We'll be on Facebook for those who want to get a little more in-depth information. We can post on there, but Instagram is going to be your starting point for everything you need to know about this campaign team. I know we have a TikTok, so you can probably find it through our link tree on Instagram as well. But once you get to the Instagram, that's where everything's going to be. Our stories we have at least 2 or 3 daily on there, and then you can get in touch with me on here if you need to. And then
you can get in touch with me on here
at Chris Mayo Mateo on Instagram. I forgot that this is mostly an audio, but yes, at Chris Mayo Mateo. But at FilAms for Harris, we'll have all the information you need, all the updates, especially for DNC. We're going to have, like I said, we'll have a hospitality suite, data briefings. Every day we're going to have staff there to be able to interact with you and answer questions. Press will be invited to come through and talk to us if they have interviews for our co-chairs, our communications team. And then, as we're pushing through, and I know Melissa will mention this when you interview her later this week, but definitely for donations and contributions, because this isn't free, and a lot of this stuff will be coming out of pocket for a lot of us that are going to be there to support it. And however you guys can support, Melissa will probably be able to provide more. But in terms of being involved, volunteering, if you're going to be around, we can all use volunteers to help out. We should have the ability to get credentials for folks that are volunteering specifically for us. So if you are in the area and able to help out, we'll find a way to get you there for at least part of a day or something, and just enjoy that experience, because not everybody gets to. And so we'll be able to help out those that help us out during this time as well. So we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks, starting on the 19th, and we'll be leaving there on the 23rd.
You'll make me want to go. I mean, I do want to go. And it's not like I don't want to go, but I think, like I said, I feel like I don't want to get everybody's hopes up and say, oh, we're all going to the DNC, and then I have to work, and I'm not trying to, I need this job right now.
Yeah.
Maybe if some of y'all would sponsor us, I wouldn't need a job. But at this point right now, I need to get a part-time job, and that's fine. It's fine. That's the ebbs and flows of finances, and that's life. It's no big deal. But I'm definitely excited for you. But I think I went from being very, very scared but hopeful that Biden would win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like before he dropped out, to now, like, this feels like 08.
Yeah.
This feels like cultural phenomenon type. She captured the zeitgeist type stuff. To me, and I'm not trying to say we won already, because there's still the debate. There's still the VP pick. Of course, we'll talk about that, because obviously this is the day, because they said it's coming out tomorrow. So I might as well put my pick in and give my final, this is who's probably going to be. And you can come, because I was so smart about JD Vance and being scared. Was that an overestimation and a leap on my part? I was wrong, dead wrong. Because I really only I was like, oh, this is the guy who beat Tim Ryan in Ohio for the Senate seat. And I thought, I liked Tim Ryan, and I really didn't listen to JD Vance. I just saw that he was funded by billionaires, Peter Thiel or whatever, and he's basically created in a Silicon Valley tech bro, politician lab. They created JD Vance, this really just zero charisma, and as a spouse of a white woman, if my wife ever had my husband is not white but sentence come out of her mouth, are you kidding me? Asha, is that her name? Asha, come back to us, because this is not the man you married. This other man, that was a never Trumper, and he was talking about how Trump was the Hitler of America and all this other stuff, and now he is childless cat lady. And I feel like, to be honest, I don't know if whatever rumors are true. When I look at JD Vance, I know that the FilAms for Harris can't say shit like this, but I can say shit like this because I'm a comedian, and y'all are just having me come on as a bystander to y'all's and just to help y'all and say shit that will bring attention to our campaign. And what I will say is that dude, like Chelsea Handler said, he looks like a couch fucker. He just does. He looks like when he was a tubby teenager. Maybe not even a teenager, maybe even a big man, like when he was a grown-ass man, but he looked like a dude that would do some weird stuff like that. That's all I'm going to say.
All weird. It's all weird, right?
It
They're
is
all weird.
so weird, man. He's such a weird. And now that's the perfect. Can I just say that is the perfect comeback to everything they're doing? Like everything from Trump talking about Hannibal Lecter. And I have a theory. I want to, I was going to play the video of this girl who talked about word association and Trump and how he's not really, I mean, obviously we know he's not that smart. And he always talks about Hannibal Lecter when he talks about letting in people from Mexico that are from the asylum, from the insane asylums, right?
Yeah.
And what
Yes.
this lady proposed in her video, and I wish I could give her credit, but I didn't find it before the podcast, and it's coming up now. But she said, and I fully agree with her, that this fool thinks when people claim asylum at the border, they're coming from an insane asylum, because he doesn't know asylum means they're under duress in their original country and they're coming to America for an asylum for to as a refuge, right?
Yeah.
They're a refugee, which makes them able to claim asylum. But I feel like this fool thinks these people, when he says they're from crazy places, he thinks because they're claiming asylum that they're from an asylum, and that's why he brings up Hannibal Lecter and his friend from the asylum. I'm positive on it. I really think that that's because every single time he brings it up, it's about the border and immigrants from the border coming over, and then he talks about, oh, the liberals don't like it when I bring up Hannibal Lecter. But as soon as he says the word asylum, that's when it comes up.
Yeah.
And I feel like this fool thinks asylum is an asylum instead of a political stance so that you can enter a country because you're in trouble. I really fully believe that shit, because he is dumb as hell.
Yeah.
Anybody who would say to a room full of black reporters, when did Kamala Harris turn black? And was all sing-songy about it, like he was about to sing it, this turn, like he was about to sing a song or something. I don't even. It was so weird. Like if you only heard the audio of that, please watch the video, because when he talks that like you see him almost formulating it in his head what he's gonna say, and then these idiots who come up after him and repeat it. It's just like you're only just showing how stupid and ignorant you are.
Yeah.
I mean. Anyway,
homonyms are hard, Eric. I don't know if you know this, but you know the people who can't distinguish between there, and there. It's the same thing. It's just
words in general are hard, my friend. I feel like words and you know, actual logical thoughts are actually hard to formulate. And to be honest, you can see it from the Republican response. They don't know what to do. Which is why I'm very confident. You know, I'm really, you know, if you see all the predictors, and especially because the momentum is ours, and we're only going to gain more because the VP pick is tomorrow, and then we just talked about the Democratic National Convention and how this was the first time that the Democratic Party has connected itself and financially to the FilAms for Harris campaign, and how awesome that is, and how good an outreach that is. That's the outreach that we wanted from the Democratic Party, and now you're getting it actually like in full force. And I think that's partially because of Jamie Harrison, the DNC, the head of the DNC. I think he's got a 50-state strategy, and I think that's always should be the way. And I think part of the way is our way as well, and that is, you know, local politics. You know, latching yourself on to Isabel Jurado or a Robert Bulatow or any one of the number of, because we're going to have a few other, according to Abby, we're going to line up. We're going to have a few other Filipinos who are looking to become elected officials in this year's election, and we're going to be interviewing a few more would-be FilAm elected officials and people running for office currently. So we're going to have more people coming to the pod. And we might even have a forum of some people running for office. I'm really excited about those things, because especially with the Vice President Kamala Harris on top of the ticket, it's going to lend excitement. I mean, there's record number of youth registering for the first time, so many first time donators, so many. And I mean, she raised $310 million in a month, in less than a month, really, because they announced that shit in the middle of the month. So it was almost less than like 2.5 weeks. She made $310 million, not to mention all the other, African Americans for African women for Harris, African American men for Harris, white dudes for Harris, and all the other offshoot groups and people that have raised millions of dollars for her. Like I said, it's a movement. It feels
coming up this Wednesday. You might have seen this already, but the AANHPI men for Kamala is going to be this Wednesday. That's getting a lot of.
I'm mad that they didn't invite me to speak. I'm just kidding.
I know.
No, I'm not mad.
I saw the names.
You know what it was
here. But we got
tonight is Comics for Harris, where they have a whole bunch of stand-up comedians,
yes.
a whole bunch, and I'm gonna go watch that tonight too. And I might, if I can, I might record some of it on the GarageBand and put it on for podcast. Why not? Let's do it. It is all free media. But I'm definitely I'm excited about all of this stuff. And like I said, it feels like 08, but in 2024, it feels like the 2024 version of 08. Because in 08 it was emails and some tweets maybe, and you shared something on MySpace or on whatever, because we forget that back in those days, it wasn't, the social network wasn't big like that. I think Facebook was around, but it wasn't what Facebook is now. It wasn't Meta. It was a different time. And the way that the Harris campaign has fully utilized and rode the wave of the social networks, from the coconuts to the, using all of the things that the Republican were using to attack her, and quotes that were supposed to make her look bad, and then turn them around and make her look awesome, like making them into songs and dance routines to them, and like all these different viral moments. And it's the same way when will.i.am did Yes We Can and put that song into his speech, and then did that black and white video, and everybody cried at the end of it, and everybody shared it on their social networks. It's the same, it's the same. Like,
yeah.
What you think? We fell out of a coconut tree? You live in the context.
The here and now.
But the fact that you can quote all that stuff back, and even say it to my face.
Yeah.
That is perfect. Pitch perfect campaign. I don't know that you've been in politics for a long time. Have you ever seen a launch of a campaign that much better? Like, Obama had time. He simmered. I mean, he even teased this on Monday Night Football, where he's like, I believe the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl. And, like, he was teasing us the whole time. Like, he was able to. We all knew what he was going to do, but he teased us for months.
Yeah.
This was put on Vice President Harris. Hey, listen, man, I'm too old. You need to do this, okay? You continue to do this? Cool. Because you're the only one who could do it and unify the party. And, when we talked about the whole, when I said there's no way that Biden would step aside, the only way is if Biden decided to step aside. And then the only way it would work is if
he said it.
Yeah. He said it. And he said it. And he did it in the George Washington-esque, you going to be on Mount Rushmore, legendary leader kind of way.
Yeah, country first.
And then immediately endorsed Harris. Like, you want to talk about Dark Brandon, eyes glowing deep dark red and laughing sinisterly. That is the best. That, I mean, because that endorsement was perfectly timed, because everybody else fell in line.
Yeah.
Everybody who was telling Biden to step out, they were the first ones to pop out and be like,
yeah, you better do this then. Yeah. You better show up for them.
Yeah.
You're asking to step
down. They were the first ones to endorse.
Yeah.
And because I was watching it even on Twitter, X, and you know what else is good? Threads. Any of you political heads, just so you know, Threads is not that bad. It's on the come up, and I am here to say that I am on Threads all the time at Erick Esteban Comedy. So if you want to follow me there, I'll be posting this podcast and links to this podcast, links to this video, all the stuff on there on Threads, because I refuse to do X. I refuse to do Twitter. I lost my account years ago almost right after he bought it and took it over, and I'm never going back. I'm cool.
You don't
I'm
need
not.
it.
No,
No.
no, I'm cool. I'm cool with YouTube, Threads, Instagram, Facebook. There's already too many. Like I said, in '08, you sent out an email and you donated $100 to Obama, and you thought you were going viral. It was a very different game. But now, now we're streaming live on a podcast where before, you remember that setup where we were like, okay, we're going to do the Zoom, and then you get Rex and all this, and we're going to do this. And it was so much different to set up. Now we're doing this every week.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing live updates from the DNC, and it's a very different game that we can play now because of the technology that's, afforded to us.
Yeah.
So, this is because I can't afford to yet. I'm just starting a new job, so I can't afford to donate. And she already got $310 million. So I feel like she don't need my $5 right now. But this is my $5. You know what I'm saying? This is my canvassing. This is this podcast and talking with you about stuff, talking with Abby about stuff, introducing Melissa Hermoso, because Melissa should really be a national figure in the Filipino community. People really need to know how much she was a former mayor. She's done so much for us as a progressive Filipino community politically, and just with very little fanfare. So for me, I'm excited to have her on coming up. And then also Michelle Amar, because it was a funny thing. She said she was DM me her cell phone. She's like, so we could coordinate when we were going to meet on StreamYard. And I was like, I have your cell phone from when we were doing the karaoke stuff with Steve. And it was a trip because, that was so long ago. That was before I think I did 2 karaoke fundraisers for Steve, 2 comedy, and in both in that election, I think he lost. Like he didn't win. So I wasn't a good luck charm for. I think I did the first election. And then the second one I did, it was more of I had Model Majority there, and one of the FilAm writers from Stephen Colbert. His name escapes me right now because I'm free thinking, but had a bunch of really good New York folks, and that show went off really well. And that was the one that Michelle was a part of, where she was helping organize it, and that one was a really good one. So I think that was the one where he got elected, and there was one where he didn't get elected. So we tried a second time, and the second time he won. So yeah, man, to be a part of those things for me, as a political science minor in college, and just a political head, just because that's what I love and I enjoy it, and it's like my sports, to be able to be a part of something like that and to be a part of the Stevens campaign. Come on, man. So, and we're going to have her on too, where we're going to be interviewing her soon as well. So those are some guests that are going to be on the podcast. But also, man, we got to keep you and me every Monday. We got to keep talking about everything. But we're almost to the end. We're almost to the end. So we should, before Vice President Harris selects her vice presidential picks, do you want to do it wish list style, or do you want to do it definitively? I will put money on this. This is who is going to be the VP. How would you like to classify your?
Well, because it's so close, and because I've been adamant about this individual, I will do it bet style. I will just I will go all in for one person.
Okay.
And it's not based on anything except that he makes sense. I like him. But my all in will be Mark Kelly. Mark Kelly is my guy. I've talked to a few people that I was like I haven't heard from just people around me, friends and family, like, oh, maybe whatever, and they throw out the popular names. But when I say Mark Kelly to some folks, and these are people I've just not that they're in the know, but they're people who are just have thought about it. It gave me some extra confidence to just be like, yeah, okay, well, you guys are saying this, you'll back me up. And I will say shout out to my friend Tyler Dos Santos Tam, who is the former chair of the Democratic Party in Hawaii, and now a city council member in Honolulu. We were able to have breakfast last week, and he was one of those people that was like, "Chris, what do you think about Mark Kelly?" I was like, "You're the first or second person to say that without me prompting it," so I was pretty confident. So I'm gonna go. My all in will be Mark Kelly from Arizona.
Okay, Mark Kelly. Now I've been so since I clarified, my picks, I'm gonna have two. I have my
Okay.
wish list pick, and then I'm gonna put money down. This is
Yeah.
probably who she's gonna pick because they're two
Okay.
different people.
Okay.
My wish list pick, and who I said it last episode. My wish list is Buttigieg because
Yes.
he's perfect.
You said
He
that,
is your anti-Project 2025 ticket with Harris and Buttigieg. You have a strong multiracial Black and Indian, South Asian woman, and you have a strong gay man, who
Veteran.
will
Veteran.
eviscerate. Thank you, veteran who will eviscerate anyone, and including JD Vance on any debate stage you give him, and in fact make him the VP and then put him on Fox News every day, because he will eviscerate every single one of those guys and make it so everybody understands the evisceration. He's brilliant. And it lines him up to be the first LGBTQ president in 4 to 8 years. He becomes the heir apparent for me. So my wish list, please pick him. Please, Pete Buttigieg. But if I'm betting money, hey, here goes my last $100. I'm about to bet this, and I feel like this is my winner. I'm going Shapiro. Josh Shapiro. And I would go either Shapiro or Kelly, because in both cases, they help to solidify the swing state. I don't think Kelly does as much as Shapiro does.
Yeah.
Because I think Shapiro hands you Pennsylvania. And if they win Pennsylvania, it's a wrap. Trump can't, there's no way for Trump to win without Pennsylvania. So if Shapiro's the VP, it's a wrap. And it's okay because the lieutenant governor in the case of Pennsylvania, it would be the first African-American governor, and he's Democrat. Yeah. In the case of places like Bashir, or in the case of Tom Cotton, or not Tom Cotton, there was another guy in South Carolina, or where the lieutenant governors were Republicans. So if he were to be taken away, I don't like that. Yeah, and also, I kind of don't. That's part of the reason why I pick Shapiro over Kelly, because I don't want to lose Kelly's Senate seat, and he was a hard fought. Even in the last year, I think he was elected 2 years ago, and it was a hard fought, and he's done it twice already. And that having and then you're about to get Ruben Gallego, because he's going to beat Kerry Lake. So now you're going to have two Democratic senators from Arizona. I like that. So for me, if I'm putting money, I think it's Shapiro.
Okay.
And it's still a crazy, to be honest. If you're thinking from a perspective of a JD Vance, medieval times, white supremacist perspective, that's also a terrible thing, because Josh Shapiro is Jewish. Yeah. So it's still anti Project 2025, because they racist as hell. They don't like nobody, so it's cool. You know what I mean? We have a long list of people that the right wing is gonna hate, no matter who you pick. So, but so yours, you pick Mark Kelly, and I think it's Shapiro.
I like the wish list idea.
Huh?
I was just saying, I love the wish list idea. You had me thinking, but if I did have one, it would be Buttigieg also anyway. So we're agreeing on the wish list idea, but I think realistically, I think we both have pretty even picks on.
I think it's going to be Kamala's going to decide between those two. I think they're the final two picks, and I think that it's going to be either Kelly or Shapiro. And Harris Shapiro, Harris Kelly, either one sounds good.
Yeah.
And I think Harris Buttigieg sounds great, because
Yeah.
I've been practicing to say Buttigieg a long time. That you know how long it took me to learn how to say
You've
Buttigieg. You guys,
invested in his name. Yeah.
I've invested in that shit. No, man, but it's good to have you back, bro. I missed you last week, but I'm glad you were able to get your little snorkeling in, and you're only sick for a minute, and you were able to enjoy your vacation and get a few meetings in with some important VIPs in the Filipino American wing of the Democratic Party, and and again, give everybody the all the credentials and ways to contact FilAms for Harris if you want to be a part of the movement, if you want to be a part and volunteer, or if you're in Chicago or around in the surrounding areas or plan on being in the DNC, you're gonna want to. So tell them where to go, Chris, please, as the final plug.
Yeah, check out at FilAms for Harris. Make sure to listen to. Is it going to be the next episode that you'll have Melissa?
Sunday, right? Probably the next or the following. But I'll have Melissa and Michelle Armour, both dignitaries from FilAms for Harris, and we'll be interviewing them. And I want to start getting into talking about, and we can talk about this too next week, what to say to your Filipino American Trump supporting relatives. How do we debate them and not offend them? Let's figure out tactics and ways to do that. And that'll be because I don't want to steal from the Native Land podcast, but that'll be my call to action. They always have a call to action at the end. So I'm going to try and figure out ways to speak to Filipino Americans and or just people in your life that are still supporting Trump and Trumpism and MAGA, and how we can, help them pull them out of the cult and how we can do that. So
let's start by defining what an asylum is, and then we'll go from there. Just make sure that they know how to use that word correctly, other words correctly, but definitely with asylum, so they understand they're seeking asylum, but they're not seeking an asylum.
Shout out to Hannibal Lecter. Yeah. And also shout out to Freddy Krueger, who was born in an asylum. All of these asylum people just know that there's a different, just like how Kamala Harris can be both South Asian, Indian, and African-American, Black, Jamaican. She can be both of those things. We can also.
Yes, both and. Yes,
we can yes and all of it.
All right. So, and then on the docket, just so you know, shout out to the other national co-chairs. I'm going to try to get them on for you to talk to Melissa. We got former co-chair Mark Polito, former mayor of Cerritos. We've got Mario. We've got Genevieve. We've got all these folks. We're going to line them up to make sure that you can talk to them.
Don't forget the crown jewel of season 2 of Miscellaneous and Brown before the election. We're about to sit down with Rob Bunte. If I have to drive up to Sacramento, we're going to go over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to hang out with that gray-haired gentleman and see how he does his stuff so I can grab some of his swag. Dude is so swaggerific, man. He's awesome.
Have him teach
He's
you
our
soccer.
Obama. He's so good. I love him.
Yeah. Have him teach you soccer. That's how you'll get him in. Be like, oh, this is a podcast about soccer. And be like,
my
nope,
daughter plays soccer too.
There you go.
I have a biracial daughter who plays soccer too.
There you go. Yeah, his
we got stuff in common, yo.
Awesome. There you go.
No, but I really want to have, because what FilAms, just to kind of wrap it up, the FilAms for Harris event that we went to, that online event, you know what it showed me? Part of it is, yes, we as Filipino American entertainers should help and lend our platform to these Filipino American politicians and people who are running for elected office. But at the same time, they're stars by themselves. And we need to showcase them and tell their story so that more people understand and know what they're doing, what they're sacrificing for us as a community and for us as a collective here in America, as Filipinos. So it really is something that I want to highlight and I want to showcase, here on this podcast, even if it is, whatever amount of views we get. I want to keep, pressing and showing that we can be a part of all facets of this wonderful country we live in.
Yeah, and you've done a great job of just role modeling that, right? I mean, like, everybody can use their voice in different ways, and you choose to do it in a way where it's like, I'm educating you, I'm letting you know there's still unity in this. Politics is important because our ancestors didn't come here just for us to keep, working in the fields, keep joining the Navy, being nurses. Those are all great and noble. I mean, my parents were in the Navy and my mom was a nurse. It's like, these are important. At the same time, they did this so we could pursue what we want to do, what we dream to do. And by having these platforms, it reminds us, it's not just 1, 2, or 3 things that you could pursue. You could do whatever you want and have fun with it. And you've been proof of that. So thank you for making this happen. And real quickly, I don't know if Melissa's going to kill me for sharing this, but one little secret I need to share. When we have our final celebration at the DNC for the Filipino, we may or may not, but most likely we'll have a celebrity performance. And that's all I'll say. But we will have somebody from our community.
You guys even haven't asked me yet. I'm more than willing to perform. You just got to give me a little more time. I mean, I'm starting a new job. You just got to tell me. Oh, wait, no, I'm not really a celebrity. It's okay.
But we're talking to the airline. We're talking to your airline right now. Just like, hey, can we borrow him for just one day? And you're going to come play the banjo for us, right? Is that what you're going to do?
No, I don't know how to play the banjo. I wish I could. That's the one, Filipino kids who are listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, when your parents say, practice your piano or you're going to regret it when you're older. Guess what? I fucking regret it, and it sucks because they were right.
Same. I chose tennis over piano, and I suck at tennis, and I don't know the piano at all anymore. So I just double no talent for me. I'm lucky I'm on here.
I'm lucky I can still play Tender Love. I'm going to buy a piano, though. I'm going to make some money doing stand-up and podcasting, and I'm going to buy a grand piano. I'm going to put it in my small-ass house, and it's going to take up the whole living room, and I don't give a shit. All right, brother. We'll see you next Monday, and stay tuned here again, Miscellaneous and Brown. This is episode, 24?
24.
Episode 24. Listen to the past episodes. We interview a whole bunch of different people, and I'm going to pretty soon, if not this week, probably next week, I am going to be launching the 1-2 Productions Patreon, where we will have exclusive interviews with people from the cannabis community, people from the Filipino American political community, and exclusive interviews where you won't get those on the YouTube or the Instagram. You'll only be able to get those on the Patreon. And that will be coming up probably next week if I get off my lazy ass and set all of it up. But we'll see.
Very cool. How exciting.
Right on, man. Well, I'll see you soon, Chris, and we'll talk next Monday when another crazy catastrophe happens in this crazy
Be on it. That's us.
political climate we're going. But yo, this is Miscellaneous and Brown, where you get a politics and pop culture from a flipped perspective. I'm Eric Esteban.
It's Chris Mateo.
We'll see you next Monday, y'all. Peace.
See you then.